Hello, everyone. Let's see what's going on, y'all. I need y'all to tell me what is going on with this Carly girl. Let's just see what's going on with Miss Carly.
Now, she says that she saw something and she did something, which is exactly what all of us as adults should do, and I think we would do. If you see a child on the side of the highway, you're not just going to zoom by at 55 miles an hour. You see a child by themselves, what's going on here? Let me see if that child needs help. And that's what she said she saw. She saw a toddler in diapers on the side of a busy highway, and it's dark. Of course you would stop. You would think you would stop. And she said she did. And she did something. She called 911, just like I ask you to do at the end of every show. Now, this story, though, has a few holes into what really happened here. Because she disappears, right? She goes from saving someone who looks like they're in peril, this child, right, from her phone call, to now everyone's looking for her. And they're also looking for the toddler. So at this point, though, 48 hours later, we know that she's home safe. But what happened? Where was she for 48 hours? What happened to that toddler? And there are a lot of skeptics to this story. And I think we live in a world where we're entitled to be a little skeptical from time to time. We can be compassionate and skeptical at the same time. But at the end of the day, if there was a toddler in diapers on the side of the highway, we need to kind of find out what happened there. And if she was abducted, then those people need to be brought to justice. Who are we looking for? Are we looking for anyone is the question. So I want to go through a timeline that we have put together based upon records from police, etc. So let's take a look at this timeline. 8:20 on the 13th of July, it's last Thursday. Carlee leaves for work at the Summit in Birmingham. She travels to the Colonnade to pick up some food. Very normal thing to do. You work till 8:20, you don't have time to cook, you're going to pick up some food. I get it. 9:34, she calls 911 to report that child in a diaper. Then a relative. Okay, so she calls 911, then she calls a relative and reports seeing a male toddler in a baby boy in a diaper on the side of I-459, and then she says that she's going to stop to check on him. 9:39, Hoover police arrive on the scene. So 5 minutes later, they're there. They locate Carlee's wig. They say cell phone and purse on the roadway near her vehicle. And her Apple Watch is in her purse. What happened? What happened? Well, now the search is on. That search lasts 2 days, July 13th to the 15th. But then on July 15th, and this happened, and the family is worried to death. Everyone, family and friends, I mean, they are out of their minds. Like, what happened to Carlee? But at 10:44, Hoover 911 received a call from Carlee's residence that she had returned home on foot. She was immediately transported by the Hoover Fire Department to the UAB hospital to be evaluated and was treated and released. So, yeah, great news. She's safe, she's home, she's with her loved ones. That's fantastic news. What happened during those 48 hours? And what's the deal with the toddler? Like, what is going on? Let's bring in our guest to help us work through the story. She's working the story as well. She's joining us tonight in Los Angeles, California, senior reporter for DailyMail.com. She's also the host of Daily Mail Crime on TikTok and the victim advocate for Project Cold Case. Caitlin Becker's with us. Caitlin, great to see you. This is one of those stories that it changed drastically from moment to moment to moment. What are your thoughts about the initial call and what happened during those 48 hours?
Well, First and foremost, Finn, I agree with you 100%. You advocate, you see something, you say something, you make the calls, you call 911. And from the onset of this story, it seemed like this young woman did everything right. She saw what she thought she saw. She calls 911. She seemingly slows down on the side of the road. She calls a family member, relays the same information. And I know we're going to get to some footage of the car that she was driving down the highway. She even pulls off the highway in a safe way with her hazards on, going slowly as to, not cause any danger. So it seems like she's doing everything right. And then suddenly she vanishes. And you mentioned holes that we're trying to fill in this case. I mean, you have the 48 hours that she was missing, but I think the most crucial hole is the 5 minutes between when the police officers were dispatched and when they arrived on the scene to find her car door open, her car running, and her belongings strewn about the ground. That's such a small amount of time for this person to have seemingly vanished. I mean, how often do we cover missing persons cases where cops delay getting to the scene or they delay taking it seriously? I mean, they were on it like that, searching the area, and there's no trace other than her belongings.
That's absolutely true and crucial, right? In 5 minutes, something happens here. And again, we have to remember, if we take her at her word for the 911 call, it's not just her who was disappearing. It's a toddler in diapers, 9:30 at night, walking down this highway. Now, you mentioned the video, so let's show the video to the folks home. This is some traffic video from 9:34 from that night. You see the hazards there on the right hand. We believe that would be her on the side of the road. I've watched this several times. I'm looking for the toddler. I don't know where she would have spotted the toddler. Up ahead, behind, I don't know. But as you can see from the traffic cam here, we zoom in on it. Again, the flasher's going. You can see there's plenty of cars on the road. They're not going at an excessive rate of speed, but they're going faster than she is, obviously, and slowing down on the side of the road. So I didn't see, in looking at this video, did you see any toddler on the side of the road? Did you see anything that may have been an image that it's tough to see because it's nighttime? Obviously, there's shadows.
Yeah.
A toddler would be tiny. But here, I don't see anyone. And this is where the car has now stopped, which is where she would go to.
But if you look close, like watch the flashing light. If you look close to the flashing light, you can see her get out of the car and go around to the passenger side and open the door. So what was the purpose for her to do that? Why would she do that? That's what I didn't get. Why would you stop? If there was a baby on side of the road, why you just couldn't get out and run and get the baby and then come back and open the door and put the baby in? Okay, but just look at the flashing light in the back and you can see her when she get out of the car. Okay, let's get back into it.
Approach the child, I would think.
I mean, we see her driving pretty slowly for quite some time. So I have to imagine when she first saw whatever it is that she thought she saw a toddler. I have no idea if she did see a toddler. Either way, she thought she did, and she did the right thing by calling 911. But she traveled down the road for so long that I don't know if by the time she stopped and got out, if she had to then maybe
once she opened the door, she
to
disappeared.
See originally where she had spotted what she thought was a child in peril. And we know from the family member who she phoned her boyfriend's, she phoned her brother's girlfriend, and she was on the phone with her brother's girlfriend telling her the exact same situation that she told police. And in that phone call, the person she was on the phone with said it sounded like she tried to approach the toddler, never heard the toddler at all, but heard Carlee scream, and then all of a sudden can't get a hold of Carlee. The phone line is still open, but Carlee isn't on it anymore. So I have no idea what to believe there, but it does, based on that description, sound like she probably backtracked in this dark area where you can't really see much to try and approach what, at the very least, she thought was a child who needed her assistance.
Now, what we did with the video, and our producers were watching it all day long, watching it slow, speeding up, zooming in, trying to see the images you can see. It's tough because of the nature of the video. You're so far away. But what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and then the video is actually a little easier to watch when you speed it up a little bit. Now, everyone at home can make up their own mind about what they see or don't see. When I looked at it, we put a red circle around an image that looks like it is the person getting out from the driver's side, going around the car, and then making their way towards the wooded area on the right. And what you have to know about this area is on each side, there are woods. So as we look at this circle, again, it's difficult to make up your own mind. But to me, it appears like there's an image that kind of goes into the darkness of the woods. Now, that can mean one of two things. One, she's just wandering off and leaving her car and heading into the woods and no one's going to find her there. Or she saw the toddler. Maybe the toddler is walking into the darkness in the woods and she's going to try to find this child, and that's when perhaps something happens to her. I'm not sure. Caitlin, your thoughts about what may or may not have happened there at that crucial moment, which is before police respond?
In that very short 5-minute time period, I just cannot wrap my head around the fact that this woman would call police and be on the phone with a family member if her plan was to just wander off and not be found. Also, the fact that she made an extra stop to pick up food to bring home to her mother just leads me to believe that she had every intention of ending her night at home with her family. I just can't reason why you would go through the steps of phoning authorities and being on the phone when you were essentially going to run away for whatever reason. I can be as skeptical as it comes, but that doesn't make any logical sense to me. So maybe there was never a toddler, and police have said that there have been no reports of a missing toddler for them to even follow up on. So perhaps there wasn't a missing toddler at all. Maybe she didn't see what she thought she saw, but it does seem like whatever she walked towards, she was met with something nefarious, because then she disappears for 48 hours and shows back up at her parents' doorstep on foot. And I don't know what state she was in when she came home. I don't know if she had shoes on or was in the clothes that she left in, but you don't leave your car running and your phone and your belongings and your wig if you planned on just wandering off.
Want to see how ChatGPT lets me automate one of the simplest Amazon side businesses in the next 3 minutes? Well, I'm going to show you a new way.
Doesn't make sense. No one in their right mind would do that, right? It's not like something you would sit down and plan if you were thinking logically about it. And the other part is, though, if she is in fact abducted by someone, should there be a description out there? Be on the lookout for someone, or do they have information and they're doing the investigation without the help of the public, because they don't need the help of the public because she provided enough information? Because our understanding is she did speak to police and give a statement after she came back, right?
Yeah, she absolutely has spoken to police since she was back, since she was checked out by medical personnel. I always land on tell the public, put out a bolo, be in communication as much as possible for people to look out if there's someone that they should be worried about, or there's someone that could be a possible danger. But I have been eating my words ever since the Idaho case, when we were all sitting there saying, what the heck is going on? And the police, meanwhile, for weeks, had honed in on their suspect. So it is very possible that the police know exactly what happened to Carlee and are trying to get to the point where they could potentially make an arrest if something that happened was a crime. We still don't know that.
Right. Because again, it's this 48-hour window of time where was she? Who was she with? What was happening to her? Does she know the people? Was she just going off on her own? Was it some sort of mental breakdown? I mean, all of these are possibilities. The bottom line is, the good news is she's home, she is safe, and she's with her family. But there's a lot more of information that needs to be filled in here to figure out exactly, again, top of the show, what happened here to Carlee. Caitlin Becker, dailymail.com, Project Cold Case, victim advocate. Great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay, when we come back, we've got a lot more to get to in this story. We're going to bring in some experts to talk about the mental aspect of all this. We're going to hear from the parents who spoke out. Plus, we'll bring in our investigators. How do they figure out what happened here? Plus, coming up next hour.
In Long Island, New York, the Gilgo Beach murders. Now a suspected serial killer is in custody. How strong?
Carlee's parents spoke out in an interview on NBC's The Today Show.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so Carlee's parents, unequivocally, there is an abductor. She was abducted. So that, I presume, is what she is telling them and told them when she got back about what happened to her. Now, police have not posted any information about anyone that we should be looking for. They could be working on the investigation. Maybe they don't need the public's help. I'm not sure. But let's try to figure out some of the issues here from a psychological angle. Like, if she was abducted for 2 days and fought her way out of all of this, what sort of treatment does she need? If something else happened, how could you tell from speaking with her? Joining us from Los Angeles, forensic psychiatrist, body language expert, columnist of Inside the Criminal Mind and the Front Page Detectives, Dr. Carol Lieberman is with us. And in O-Town, Orlando, Florida, psychotherapist Dr. Janie Lacey. Great to have you both here. Dr. Carol Lieberman, I'll begin with you. She was taken to the hospital and evaluated and released. Would that normally be some sort of psychological evaluation as well? Whether it's for the trauma, the shock of everything that happened, or to make sure that she's okay?
Well, I would hope so, but it seemed like it was a relatively short time that she was at the hospital. It seemed like they should have been doing more tests. But, I know, Vinny, this might make me sound like I lack compassion, but I don't believe a word of it. I didn't believe it from the beginning. I feel compassion for her because I think she has some problems. She's a troubled young lady. One of the problems is that we don't really know very much. And there are, pieces of information online, and you don't know which ones are valid and which ones aren't. But, some of the things that bothered me from the beginning are the fact that she called her brother's girlfriend. She didn't call her own boyfriend. Like, if there was something that she was afraid of, you would think that her first call would be, besides 911, would be to her boyfriend. Also, there is some information online about the fact that she had a bad day, that she was caught stealing at work, and that she flunked out of her nursing course. Now, again, I don't know that that's true, but if those things are true, one explanation could be that she was afraid to go home. She was afraid that her parents would be angry at her. So if she makes up this story, about being abducted and so on, they will just be so happy that she's safe that they, wouldn't yell at her or.
See, that's the part I heard, that she got caught stealing, allegedly, pills that she got caught stealing. That's alleged. So could it be true? Or could it be false, Let's get back into it.
punish her or whatever.
And
these other
they are
things.
happy that she's safe, and that's how it turned out. Now, Dr. Carol Lieberman, what you said is not necessarily far-fetched, because when we covered the trial of Alec Murdaugh, and I am in no way comparing her to Alec Murdaugh, but one of the things that he did is these diversionary things. He got into trouble at work, obviously a much different type. He's ripping people off, etc. But then all of a sudden he became the victim of something. So I don't think it's far-fetched. We've seen something like it before. But Janie Lacey, when we think about talking to her after whatever happened, whether she's abducted or something else happened here, it's extremely traumatic. It seems like it's really serious, and it would seem like it's something that would require some therapy, whatever happened to her.
Well, we definitely know the truth is going to come out at some point, and whatever happened to her, there is an explanation. So whether there was a mental health breakdown, whether she was delusional, whether there also the possibility that what's being reported is being reported. But looking at her trauma and looking at her response to whatever occurred during those 48 hours is going to matter. So when they're doing their assessment, when they're talking with her, they're putting together the pieces. And as Dr. Lieberman had mentioned, what was happening the day before, if there's a potential diversion to get attention somewhere else. I mean, all of those pieces are going to matter. But, you know, the good news is that she is safe, and that there is no toddler that was found. And now the real issue of whatever is happening to her and her mental health and her mental wellness can be addressed for her and her family. And hopefully there could be some lessons that are learned from this case for other people as well, because we know this is not the first time, potentially, if that is the case, if there was truly some type of diversion or delusion that occurred in her mental health.
Now, we also have a statement from her boyfriend. He posted on Instagram. Let me read that. This is part of it. All I ask from everyone right now is to be respectful of Carlee's situation. She was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours. So until she's physically and mentally stable again, she's not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment. I also want to thank the people on social media who have been understanding and respectful about what she's been through in these past few days. Once again, I can't thank you guys enough for helping us bring Carlee home. God bless you all. So, Dr. Carol Lieberman, what are you reading from the boyfriend's statement here? She's physically, she was literally fighting for her life for 48 hours.
I think that's what she's told everybody, but I don't think it's true. You know, this also could be a kind of Sherry kind of case. Maybe she was with some other guy. You know, there was a report that some car had come behind her, although that's questionable now whether that was actually true. They couldn't really find evidence of that, but perhaps she spent that time, those 2 days, with some guy. And certainly one thing is for sure, she wants attention. I mean, have you ever seen when there are cases of all kinds of cases, where did all these glamour shots come from the beginning? You know, every story about her has all these posed glamour shots.
Well, I think all of us have these. I mean, I've got some glamour shots out there as well, yes. Dr. Lieberman.
Yes. But if you were lost or something happened to you, what would be in the news? I mean, it just seems like it's a cry for attention. And yes, sure, she could have some psychological disorder. She's 25. That could be the beginning of schizophrenia. And she had a hallucination, a visual hallucination of a toddler, for example. She could be. There are reports that she was taking drugs. That could explain it. You know, as I said, she could have been cheating. And wanted these 2 days, you know, to figure out if that other relationship was going to work. There could be some other explanations for this, but you know, she also gave a story, or there is a story out there about that she was taken into a truck and she was fed Cheez-Its for the 24 hours. I mean, there's so many different stories, so it's hard to know, but it just doesn't hold together. And, you know, if she was brought to the hospital, one would have hoped that she would have had a much longer, more intense kind of psychiatric evaluation, no less physical examination, a rape kit, all of that.
I agree on that part. I was surprised that she was back that quickly, but so the boyfriend says here, again, she's not able to give any updates or whereabouts on her kidnapper at this very moment. So let's presume, Janie Lacey, that everything is true here, that she said that there was a toddler, and the toddler, I guess, would have been being used as bait to get someone to go get out of their car to try to get the toddler, and then the toddler's being used to entice someone, and then that person is taken and somehow kidnapped, and I think they'd have to escape through the woods there. All this would be extremely traumatic. Then there would also be the matter of this toddler, right? If a toddler is being used to lure people into a kidnapping situation, it's obvious the toddler's not in a good situation either. So I think it'd probably be pretty important, Janie, to evaluate her to see if what she's saying is true also, right?
Absolutely, it all matters, and it produces more questions. So we're looking at a toddler, we're looking at, there's other cars that are available that are watching, and why was no one else seeing, right? So there's so many different factors, and I think when it all comes out, there's going to be some things that make sense, right? So if she was for 48 hours truly missing and struggling and fighting somebody, I would imagine her condition would also warrant that. And those would be the details, obviously, that will be coming out in the reports. But if that was not the case, then it's going to lead to other questions. Where was she? Who was she with? What was she exposed to? What was she going through? And then what was her condition before this incident, right? From her mental health perspective, and what were some of the challenges that she had leading up to this? So it leads a lot of questions, and we're here making assumptions, right? So, but ultimately, I think it's going to be a learning lesson, because there were resources that were used. We're getting national coverage for this, and if there was some type of diversion tactic to potentially, all the different stories and all the different possibilities, I mean, it would be sad that this was a cry for help.
Again, we all agree, though. The good news is she's home with her family and she's safe. Dr. Carol Lieberman, Janie Lacey, thank you both so much. When we come back, folks, we've got the dispatch recordings from that night, from the 13th. We'll take a listen to them next.
Taylor Shabizz.
Would you be interested in collecting 5-figure paychecks for a few hours of work, helping me in your spare time from home? I'm on a mission.
On July the 13th at approximately 9:34 p.m., the Hoover 911 Center received a call from a 25-year-old female on I-459 southbound near mile marker 11. She reported that she saw a toddler walking on the side of the interstate. After calling 911, the caller stopped to check on the child and also called a family member to report the same details. The family member lost contact with the caller, but the line remained open. Police officers who were already en route to the location of the initial 911 call located the female's vehicle as well as some of her belongings at the scene. They were unable to find her or a child in the area.
Then she's gone for 48 hours. She disappears. There's a huge search for her. Her family is completely worried. Then she returns on foot 48 hours later. And we're trying to figure out what happened. How about the toddler? What's the story with the toddler? So what we found for you tonight, folks, is the Hoover, Alabama police dispatch recordings. So you can hear some of the communications that night as police are trying to figure out what's happening. Let's take a listen.
459 South, mile marker 10. Going to be a child walking on the 3-4-year-old child walking on the side of the interstate next to her. RP's going to be close by in a red Mercedes sedan with the hazards on. Child's going to be a white male wearing a white t-shirt and a diaper. RP's advising there's no cars in the area. Looks like the child's been abandoned on the side of the road.
Call her RP back. She's not at their vehicle.
We're not getting the female to answer. We're trying to call her back. She's not answering.
Running around the interstate as well. Can you give me a description on the child? And were they southbound, walking southbound?
10-4. Southbound, walking southbound. It was a toddler, 3-4-year-old, wearing a white t-shirt and a diaper. RP arrived in a red Mercedes and knowing what the RP's description is going to be.
Copy. Thank you. 42, just be advised, her vehicle is unlocked, running. All her personal belongings except for her phone.
If we can we start using the active cam area? Just see if this child might have wandered from a house over there. The RP had just saw the child walking on the side of the interstate and had gotten out with it when she had disconnected. Do you want us to start seeing if we can get her phone number pinged?
Apparently, there's a sister that was on the phone with her and still has an open line with her phone and can hear her vehicles as if it's like on the side of the interstate or something.
First call we got was from her. Second call we got was from the family.
Right. I'm just saying that the sister apparently has an open line with that phone still.
That's interesting, right? That it seems the police are there. They've seen the car, and she's still on the phone with the family, but she's not in the area. What's going on here? I mean, what happened? Let's bring in our guest with us. Private investigator, founder of Victims News Online, Erica Morris is with us. Also joining us tonight, private investigator, former New York City police officer Manuel Gomez, founder of Black Ops Private Investigations. Great to see you both tonight. Thanks for being here. Erica, a lot of questions surrounding this one about what happened here. What are your thoughts about how do you figure out what really happened on the side of the road, perhaps in the woods, and during those 48 hours?
I want to know this myself.
Well, with no apparent video footage that they can find or to work from, the first thing you have to do is get her evaluated both medically and psychologically. You have to bring in a forensic psychological expert to determine if, as Dr. Lieberman said, this was a schizophrenic break because she's the perfect age. 25 is the perfect age for a schizophrenic break. Second, you have to look at any potential human trafficking issues going on in that area. I will tell you that I reached out to an amazing woman named Bo today with the North Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force, and to see if any description she would provide matched any ongoing investigations. And Bo did tell me there are active human trafficking investigations in that region. So you take a suspect composite if you can. You get as many details as you can. One of the things that I just caught in that dispatch call that makes me very nervous was the fact that it was listed as a 3 to 4 year old child. Every investigator knows that the number 3 is the liar's number. I'm not accusing her by any means. I am so grateful this woman is home. But I'm going to tell you right now, Vinny, if we have 2 missing persons hoaxes in a row in this community, the damage is irreversible. And we have to get to the bottom of this because experts, colleagues, people that are on your panel every day are questioning the validity of this. I don't know what to think, and I am reserving my opinion until those investigators make solid decisions. But I am afraid that we do not have 2 hoaxes in a row.
Manuel Gomez, your thoughts tonight?
Well, you know what? I agree with the investigator that I'm hoping that it's not a hoax like the Jesse Smollett case that, faked his beating to increase his career and his acting career. But in this case, I'm leaning towards that she is possibly telling the truth. And the reason why is the wig, the man standing outside the car with the shorts and the gray vehicle, and just the fact of the tire tracks nearby. And black women are not known for just ripping their wig off and leaving it on the side of the road. Okay. I don't see that. I do believe that what we are seeing here, in my professional opinion, is that the sex trafficking and serial killer game has now escalated to a new level. We're seeing new tactics, using a child to entrap someone in this case. And I think the only reason why she's alive is because of the immediate attention that this story received. Okay, that is the reason why the abductor most likely released her in this case, especially what happened in Long Island, because look what was going on with all the attention there, and now this one got the attention as well. So you have the serial killer in Long Island, and then you have this woman being abducted. He said, you know what, this is not worth it. Then there's one other indicator in this case that disturbed me. The fact that she was not lucid, tells me that she possibly was drugged, possibly with Rufalin. It's known to have you have memory loss. It's known to not know where you are. So I hope that someone assesses her and does a toxicology on her so we can determine if this was a sham or not. But the indicators to me are showing that it's not. And like she said, sex trafficking is indicative in this area.
Erica Morse, the only video that we've been able to come across is from these traffic cams. We zoomed in, we put a red circle around it. I'm going to show it to you guys. It's sped up because it's actually easier to see when it's a little bit faster. But from our perspective, it looks like there's some figure that is there on the side of the car and then sort of wanders off to the side towards the darkness, which is where the wooded area is. The fact that we've got this traffic cam and we don't see a toddler necessarily, again, we won't see everything, but perhaps the toddler's in the darkened area and you can see it from the road, you can't see it from the camera. I don't know. Any thoughts about that?
Something happened on 465. We know that. And this child, if this child existed, would be the perfect decoy to get a woman to stop, especially a nursing student. You know, she would be that passionate person. Everything lines up in terms of her narrative thus far, even though we're not hearing it, the reports that Ali's giving. I did catch an interesting word in the initial law enforcement statement, and as you know, as a lawyer, Vinny, every word counts in a statement. What law enforcement actually said in the initial statement was that there was no timely report of a child walking in that area or a child walking alone. Why was the word timely used? Again, that's something as an investigator that I am going to pursue and say, was there a social media post? Was there a call that came in? Was there a custody dispute? We don't know yet. Children are the perfect bait for a human trafficking situation. And until we know more, we won't know more.
And Manuel, are you surprised that police took a statement from her that there's no release of a sketch or a vehicle that we should be looking for? Is it possible that investigators are working it and don't need the help of the public, or what should we make of it?
Well, I am surprised. I mean, I'm not shocked that she didn't have much to say because, as I said, if she was drugged, some of these drugs would make her not remember what it was and what was going on. This video clearly shows that she was out on the side of a very busy, highly congested area, and she clearly looks like she's going off to approach someone. At one point in the video, it looks like there's almost two images. So I would say, I do believe something happened here. Now, with the cops not saying that they need the public's help, I disagree. The public's help is needed on this because we need to retrack how she came back home, where she was left off. Okay, that has not been released yet to the public. And not only that, but what about the toxicologies? What about what's being done to determine was this true or not? Do I believe she was going to stop on the side of the road and use this as a joke or a scam to get some type of internet publicity? No, because there's no reason for her to have that.
It doesn't make sense. It would be like the worst plan ever to make, by the way, if you did. Erica Morse, Manuel Gomez, appreciate your time today. I know it's valuable. Thank you so much.
If you're tired of spending a ton on all your streaming services, then
All righty. Well, we really don't know what happened. We really don't. I just can't wait to see what really happened. All right. If we even will find out what really happened. Will we find out what really happened? We don't know. We don't know. So we just got to keep watching and see. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get up off of here. It's pretty late. I just wanted to really just get on and figure out how to use this YouTube thing. Hell, I had forgot how to use it, so I'm back. But I will be back probably tomorrow night, and see if we have any more update or look at the some of the clips that they already done showed. Then again, we might have some updates. They coming in just about every other day anyway. So when you catch the replay, go ahead and like and subscribe for me, please. I appreciate it. I see that I am getting a few more subscribers, and I appreciate the ones that did come on tonight. Go ahead and subscribe and like for me. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow night.